This brings us to the shame-based self-punishment cycle, and this is a revelation that God gave me many years ago to help me better understand what was happening for me. And I felt like I had to be perfect. And if I wasn't perfect, then I would very harshly judge myself. And then I would hate myself. I would go into this, I'm a terrible, awful mother, employee, whatever it was. I'm an awful person. And then I would think, well, how do I remedy this? Again, the word I, thinking I had to restore myself, I had to fix myself. So this is very self focused. The shame based self punishment is all about me, self centeredness. Self is in the middle of this cycle, and it's not bringing God in. So what I would do is I would operate in this self-hatred and then I would make a vow. And the vow would be like, I'll never eat sugar again. Or the vow would be, I'll never be late for another meeting. Or whatever the vow was, I will never drink again. Well, in my own power, in my own self-will, I was not capable of holding these vows. And so what I discovered is I had no grace for myself. There was no love of God coming in to empower this. It was just legalism. And so when I would fail, which would always happen, whether it was a diet, whether it was a behavior change, whatever it was, I would eventually fail and go back into that cycle of perfectionism. And so, one of the things the Lord told me, He said, Kay, you have to, whenever you have a cycle, you want to break a link in the chain. So he said, you can start anywhere in that cycle. You can start by repenting for judging yourself. You can start by saying, God, I no longer want to hate myself. Help me to love myself and operate in self love. And instead of making vows, the Lord said to me, what I want you to do is surrender. So instead of, I'm going to do this in my own willpower, no, I'm going to surrender to the power of God because truly it is in our weakness that we become a portal to the power of God. And then he said, and instead of this legalism and this perfectionism, he said, why don't you allow my Holy Spirit to fill you up and allow flow in the Holy Spirit because you don't have to be perfect. There's grace for every mistake. And I began to discover the joy of living in the truth that I'm human and I'm allowed to make mistakes. And truly, that was frightening for me. I was afraid if I make mistakes and admit that I'm human, that some terrible, awful thing was going to happen to me. And the truth of the matter was that no, that as I humbled myself and became willing to admit, give myself permission to be human, that there was freedom and liberty and joy in that.